Hi, everybody. This is GM John Fedorowicz. Welcome to my March 2015 Simul Master Simul. So we'll be starting shortly. Good luck to everybody. A lot of good tournaments lately. I've been following on the ICC. The European Individual Championship was played in Jerusalem, and that was a very strong tournament. I was following that, and before that, we had Gibraltar and the Grand Prix in Zurich. And I guess coming up will be another Grand Prix, and it's just a lot of fun to follow chess. Even though baseball has started with spring training in the United States, I still would rather watch chess, to tell you the truth. I don't know what that says about me. I guess I'm a chess nerd, but that's all right. I've been a chess player all my life, and well, since my first tournament was when I was 15, so. I've been a chess player for quite a while and have always enjoyed it. And watching chess, playing chess, studying chess. And one of my students is playing in the U.S. Women's Championships, so I'm looking forward to that. All right, let's get started. Hello to everybody and good luck. Looks like I'm playing Havaniola. I remember somebody wrote that was some kind of Greek dessert. I think that I played him in a Simul last year, and I think it was a French defense, if I'm not mistaken. And his rating says 1400, but I think he's much better than that. A4, H5. Benny wins. Bjorky. Chess 24, I think we played before. Deep Fort. Fork and Pin. Chester. Loud Say, I'm pretty sure we've played before. I still have a good memory, even though I'm an old geezer. But so I don't remember the games, of course. Sometimes I remember some of the openings and stuff, and I remember some of the games against some of the people, because especially if it was like I got cheapoed at the end or at the beginning, so got a bad opening or something like that. Pawn Grabber, I don't think we've played before. Pearl Hacker, we've played before. Hello, Pearl Hacker, and good luck to you too. Small Master, Talikin, we've definitely played before, probably a number of times. Thrax, don't think we've played before. Winston Smith, I think we might have played. And we're back to the beginning with Bjorky. Okay, let's see what kind of openings we're getting here. I usually mix up D4 and E4 evenly. Chess 24, I'm not sure, but I think I might have lost in a Samish to him or some kind of King's Indian a few months ago. Ohastian, we have a Dutch defense. Deep Fort's starting off as a Sicilian. Fork and Pin, couple of Queen's Gambits. Thrax, double E-pawn. Winston Smith, yet to be determined. D4, Knight F6. Small Master, D4, D5. Pawn Grabber, D4, Knight F6. Loud Say, another Sicilian. MJB, 223, another Queen's Gambit. And Monarch has gone D4, E6, giving me the option of playing C4 or E4 if I want to play a French. And maybe he'll either play a Queen's Gambit or a Dutch or a Benoni, as he could do also. Havaniola, Queen's Gambit. I think I'm not sure. I know we've had French defenses before. I remember one Alekhine defense from Benny wins. A4, H5, D4, Knight F6. I just played C4. And I always fianchetto against the Dutch. Long time ago when I was playing all kinds of weird stuff against the Dutch, I studied Portnoy games. I decided the best way to approach Dutch defense was play all main lines, and it looks like in all main lines, white should fianchetto the bishop. What that does is it stops some attacking chances that black could have based on getting a knight to E4 and say like the Stonewall or something like that. Okay, Nanning has played the Petrovs. Petrovs is a very good opening. When I remember when I was a kid, it was considered to be a little too solid, but it's a real international player kind of opening, very solid, and I consider it to be a tough opening to deal with. I think I remember studying, thinking that D4 was the best way to approach it, and with some aggressive, the most aggressive line. It's such a solid opening that it's very tough to get something. A lot of draws in international tournaments with that opening. Okay, let's say we're in an. Since I was a kid, I always believed that the open Sicilian was the right way to play against the Sicilian. My second best would be C3, which I teach to some of the kids that I teach. I teach a lot of kids in New York, and I teach them all pretty much the C3 Sicilian because it's just too much to teach them open Sicilians at this point. Rui Lopez against Thrax. Bjorky looks like we're going to get into a King's Indian classical. Havaniola has we're going to go into a Slav. I always play Queen C2, and I always threaten to do something else. MJB 223, also the same thing. Another Queen C2 Slav. Chess 24, we're going to be in a King's Indian. Pawn Grabber, I'm playing a Queen's Indian. I never really liked I don't know, for some reason, I've said this before, I get afraid. I was always afraid of the Nimzo from the white side because of double pawns. And not so much me having bad experiences, but some friends of mine. Like one game that really bothered me that I saw live was when I played in Hastings years ago. And my friend Jim Tarjan lost he lost a really weird game to Roman Gingiashvili. It was a blockade variation. They call it the Hubner variation. And I spoke to Hubner about it once, and he's not really sure why it's called the Hubner variation. He thinks that it should be called maybe the Portish variation because he says Portish played it much more than he did. Okay, fork and pin, we're in some sort of tarish. I usually just play it like it's an go for an isolated queen pawn position. Ohashian, we're in a Leningrad Dutch. He fianchettoed with the black pieces. Chess 24, I want to figure out, did I lose the Samish to him once? I'm not sure. I think I'm going to try the Samish, but I have a feeling I lost to him in the King's Indian already with that. Looks like we have a Sveshnikov from Deep Fort. Bjorky, classical King's Indian we're headed for. Pearl Hacker, he's keeping his options open. It could be a Dutch or a Slav. Talikin has played a Latvian Gambit. And I think I usually just go for the book lines, which is knight to e5. Exchange, Queen's Gambit against Small Master. And Jester, we're in a Slav. But he played Bishop F5 very early. I don't know. I'm going to try to take advantage of it by playing pawn takes pawn and see how that goes. A knight or from outside. Now, when I was playing in over the summer in the Canadian Open and whatnot, I was messing around with a lot of G3 lines. So I think I'm going to try G3 against him and see and get some practice with that. Chess 24 in the early stages of a Samish. Fork and pin has exchanged on C3 very fast. Sometimes black shouldn't do that because it bolsters the center. Deep Fort, I haven't played against Sveshnikov in a long time, but I know that I was experimenting with these knight to d5 lines a lot. Winston Smith has played c6. Now I'm going to go bishop g5, and then we could get into the crazy Botvinnik system stuff, or maybe we get into Cambridge Springs. Benny wins. It's going e4, knight f6, e5, d5. E5, knight d5, d4, c5, c4, knight c7. And I think that I must play d5 there. And it looks like my center's overextended, but it feels, better, just like a better position for white. H4, a4, h5. Looks like we were headed for a Benoni or maybe a Benko Gambit. Ohashian has played an unusual move in this Leningrad, knight a6. So what to do there? I usually was experimenting with queen b3 lines in this one, in this position. So I have to see, does that affect anything, having the knight on a6? Sometimes rook to b1 with the idea of pawn to b4 could be played. Um, I'm not really sure what to do here. I'm thinking of doing queen to b3 anyway. And, sometimes it threatens discovered checks. It keeps an eye on b7, and it keeps black from developing. I think I'm going to give that a try. Okay, Jester. Now, usually in these openings, the way to try to punish an early bishop f5 is with some queen b3 stuff. So I'm going to see if I can make that work. Pearl Hacker looks like we've gotten into a he's transposed into a Dutch stonewall. Not a bad choice. And in the position with my knight on g1, I saw Yasser Seirawan play f4 in this position and do pretty well. So give it a try. Pawn grabber, we're going to get into a Bogo Indian. Thrax has played bishop to c5. Archangel stuff. Is his move order okay, though? Because he didn't go b5. If I play bishop c6, pawn takes, knight takes, I think he can go knight e4 there and be all right. So I think I'm just going to try to play d3 and go slow there. Talkin, we're in this Latvian gambit theory. Chess 24 has gone c5. I think we played a game like that before. Benko gambit, I always accept one, and then on the second one, I like to play b6 and return it, partially because of when I was playing the Benko a lot. I really liked it, and I just felt very uncomfortable playing against myself. And it's weird when you're playing against yourself. So against Benny wins, I think I'm going to take on d6 and get into some sort of position that resembles a weird Benoni. Chess 24 has gone e6, and he's playing this Benoni kind of stuff. Talkin, I'm playing all the book's moves. I mean, that's usually what I do against the Latvian. D5 from Nanin in the Petrov, still book stuff. Queen E7 from Pawn Grabber, that's a good line. And let's see, so we're rolling in the openings here. D6 from Thrax, and I'll just play C3 and try and build a center. Queen D7 from Jester. Okay, now he's protecting his D5 pawn, and he's protecting his B7 pawn. But can I get knight E5 for free? I think I'm going to play knight E5 for free and ask his queen to move, and then see what develops out of that. G6 from Fork and Pin. Now, the way he's playing, it's like an A3 Queen's Indian, except I haven't played A3, and it's a little bit very similar to a Grunfeld position. So I think that I should probably just go bishop to E2 and just develop slowly. Small Masters played knight E4. It's a solid line. He's playing very solid. And bishop to E7 from Pearl Hacker. And I guess I should play, I'll go knight to E5. I think white, and now Winston Smith has played a little strangely. He's recaptured on F6 with a pawn. I'm a little bit surprised with that. Obviously, I mean, queen takes would be the normal capture, keeping the pawn structure intact. And so I'm just gonna, I guess I'll just play E3 and develop. If he plays some rook G8 stuff, he could get some pressure on the G file, but then where does his king go? That's going to be the question for him. Okay, bishop E6 from Lao-Tse. Lao-Tse, when I played G3 against the Naidorf, replied with bishop to E6. And I had a game with Jeffrey Shong, young USIM, and he did Bishop G4 to me. Actually, he did Bishop E7, Bishop G2. Then he put the bishop on my bishop on F3, and then he went backwards and to E6. So trying to misplace some of my pieces. Bjorky, we're in the main line, King's Indian. Pawn Grabber, we're in the main line, Bogo Indian. Fork and pin. Okay, now I want to see what is my plan here. Um, I'm thinking since his bishop is stuck on C8 that I should move my E pawn again and just get move that E pawn up there and get some control of the center. And it's a Grunfeld. Bishop to E7 from Nanning. I think I remember that Bishop D6 used to be played a lot with some ideas, so I think that I'm just going to castle. Bishop G7 from A4, H5. That's the Benko Gambit we're in. C5 from Bjorky. Now, I can go into a Benoni, or I can just castle, and then it could be an accelerated dragon or an odd kind of Benoni. It's his choice. Queen C7 from Jester. He gave me knight E5 for free. Now I'm looking to see if I have Bishop F4 for free. Interesting situation. He's threatening queen takes C1. I could go knight C3 and attack his E pawn, and then he would almost certainly play E6. And I have to see, am I coming out fast with Bishop F4, or do I want to play Bishop F4 right away? Is a good question with discovered attacks. I think that I think that I'm going to play Bishop B4 and Knight C3. They both look good. I don't know which is the best though. Is the question. If E6, okay, I think I'm going to go Knight to C3 and attack his E pawn and see what comes out of that. Talkin, we're in the book, and I think that if I'm not mistaken, I think I'm supposed to play F3 on after Bishop F5, and then something like pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn. I remember some Knight D5 ideas, so I'm going to go F3. It's kind of weird to know the book, but I guess I remember something about that from MCO. Thrax. Now, the thing in these Archangel positions where I play D3 is if I go Bishop G5 and he goes H6, even though I can go Bishop H4, G5, Bishop G3, Knight H5 is still pretty interesting. So I think I'm just going to go Bishop E3 there and just get a position. It's another very tough opening to deal with. The 2800 guys have that all worked out. Okay, Bjorky's going Knight A6, and I guess I'll go D5. That's become some sort of Benoni. Benny wins. The question with Benny wins is how should I develop? Should I put a knight on F3? I'm not sure that I want to allow Bishop G4. H3 could be a good move, but then he goes Rook E8, threatening discovered check stuff. I think I'll go Knight F3 against Benny and just develop. Nanning has castled. That's the solid Petrov. And I'm going to just go Rook E1 and see what he does with his knight. Queen C7 from Laozi. And let's see. At what moment should I play A4? That's a good question. I think I'll play A4 right now and just stop any B5 ideas he might have. Bjorky, we're in a Benoni, but he hasn't played E6 yet. Sometimes when you don't play E6 and you don't get E6, then that can be a problem. So that's an interesting situation. And Winston Smith, how do I develop? I'm just making sure that if I develop with Bishop E2 or Bishop to D3, that I don't get into trouble with the G file. He doesn't have any pieces near my king, so I think I can play Bishop E2 pretty safely, and then see how that goes. Okay, Monarch's played a good line after Bishop G5 in the exchange. He's played Bishop F5. Now I'm going to try G4, old stuff. Bishop G4 from Benny wins, and I'm going to go H3. And bishop h5 from knight h5 from Bjerke attacking my bishop, and I'll go bishop g5, trying to provoke some stuff. Havaniola, queen c2, he's played g6, that's a good line. And I think I'm going to play it safe today and just play e3, try and get a position. I've always gotten tactical positions against these guys, and sometimes it hasn't worked out so well. So sometimes it's just better to be safe. MJ23, just developing early stages of that game. And now Lautze has played b6. And the question for me is, can I go f4? I'm going to try f4 and see if I could maybe push his bishop around. h6 from Bjerke, and I will just drop back with bishop to e3 and hope that I get my tempo back later on. Okay, now what's happening here with Benny wins? He's keeping the pin. It's a little annoying pin, but I haven't castled yet on the king side, and castling queen side is not completely out of the question. I think I'm going to try queen c2 and try a very sharp business here and see what happens with that. Let him double my pawns if he wants to. Fork and pin has played a very anti-positional looking move. F5. And now I want to see how should I take advantage of this. Looking at some stuff like takes. Takes feels right because maybe my bishop can come to c4 in a little while. Okay, knight f6 from Jester, and Jester is giving me a pawn, but I don't know if I should take this pawn or go bishop to f4. Bishop to f4 looks like a better thing to do. Let's try and come out very fast with the pieces. I'm gaining a lot of time on his queen. Okay, now fork and pin has thrown in an in-between move, which leads to all kinds of possibilities here. It's a really sharp move. I mean, if I took on g6, I guess he could take on c3, and his king could be open, but that pass pawn on c3 is annoying. So I think I'm just going to play it safe and play pawn takes d4. So let me see. Pawn takes d4 looks like the right thing to do there. Just play it safe and try to take advantage. Okay, bishop takes f3 from Benny wins, so that means I'm going to castle queenside soon. Bishop takes f3 from Bjerke, and Lautze has played castles. Now I'm looking to see if I can do f5 in this position. It's a good question. I think I'm just going to go rook to e1 and prepare it a little bit. Sometimes I talk too much and get in the time pressure on some of the boards, but it's okay. All right, now let's see. Fork and pin. I think I'm going to go rook to b1. Looks like a normal kind of Grunfeld move, tying him down to b7. And Talikin has played a controversial-looking move, knight c6. Very controversial-looking move from Talikin. Now, what happens if I play knight to d5, hitting his queen? I'm going to give that a try out and see what happens because c7 is hanging and sometimes tricks on f5 also. So I'm going to give that a try out. Bjerke, sometimes when I'm playing these Benoni positions, I'm so afraid of the Benko Gambit that I just go a4 when I'm not supposed to sometimes. And I think I'm just going to go a4 here. And I can go queen d2 and get my tempo back at some point. Small master has gone b6. I don't know about that one. He's softening up his pawn structure a little bit, and then the game switched to chess 24. And he's gone rook to e8. And I remember with playing games with Larry Christensen, I've tried bishop to e2 we were working on. Now it's switched back to small master. And I think I'm going to go queen c2 and see if I can get rid of his knight. Bishop takes g4 from Monarch. Can he do that? I go bishop takes f6. And Benny wins has gone g6, protecting his pawn. And now I have to see what to do. I have to castle queenside now, that's for sure. I think I'm going to go bishop to e3 and, and make sure my king is safe over there. I mean, there's something in chess. You always feel safe with, when you have a safe king, you feel good. It makes us all feel good. Pro Hacker, we're in a very solid position. Lots of exchanges could happen, and that's in the in the Dutch defense. Queen d5 from fork and pin. Interesting situation here. I'm thinking of sacking a pawn. The fact that his queen and king are on the same diagonal, I'm thinking about knight e5. There's other stuff, simple moves like queen to c2 threatening bishop to c4, or maybe even queen a4. But I think I'm gonna go with knight e5, and that gives me some nice opportunities, maybe bishop f3 ideas. So I'm gonna try that one out. So it's gonna be a pawn sack if he wants it. E5 locking the position from Bjerke. And now I have to see how do I open this up if it's locked? How do I want to do this? Let's see. Obviously, I cannot. He's gone e5. I guess I could go en passant. The decision is based on whether I could open up his queen side or not. If I don't think I could open up his queen side, then I would probably play differently. So, the lock center, and I don't know, without his light squared bishop, I don't know if f5 is going to bother me that much. So I think that I'm going to try to win with the locked position. But I guess I should first look at pawn takes pawn, and then if he goes knight takes pawn, what's happening there? I go queen d2. Then I guess king h7, and then I'm looking to see backward pawn situations. I don't know if the position's locked on the queen side. That could just be some sort of locked board situation. So I'm thinking about going a5 and playing that locked position. Give that one a try out. Okay, knight d6 from Nanon looks like a good move. Although, I mean, the knight looks a little weird there. I think I'll just develop with bishop to f4 and just get my pieces out. It's a very solid Petrov. Small master, I'm going to solidify my center with pawn takes c3. Knight a6 from pawn grabber, still in the early stages of a Bogo Indian. And Winston Smith played bishop to b4. I'm going to castle. I still like my game there. b6 from Bjerke. And now I want to see how do I approach this deal here. I think I'm going to go pawn takes pawn, and then queen b3 and try and get a little play. Benny Wins has played bishop to g5, and I'm looking to see about f5 for me. F4, excuse me, and then just get my king side rolling, see if I can get some attack out of this. Now, in the pro hacker position, I'm looking to see his knights aren't really bothering me that much, so I think that I'm probably going to try for a minority attack deal. So I'll play rook to b1 and see if I can get that going. And now, let's see, we got small master. Went bishop a6, and I think that I like the looks of c4. If I can open it up, I'll either get pressure on his c pawn or give him an isolated d pawn. That looks good. Bishop to g4 from Lautze, and now where do I put my queen? He has to be careful that I don't go f5 and lock his bishop out. I think I can go queen to d3. Bishop takes c4 from small master, so I have control of the center. I'm playing very solidly against Havanayola. Queen a5 from chess 24, and he's going to try to get his b5 stuff going. And knight d7 from Bjerke. Okay, now, how do I, what do I do against Bjerke? I'm trying to work my way in here. I think I'm going to try knight to b5 and see if I could bother him on light squares. What's happening with Monarch? I think I'm just up a piece. I think I just won a piece in that game, so it looks like a piece for nothing over there. He had to move his bishop back after g4. Queen takes c4. In the early games, I think that I'm pretty happy with how things look. Um, so, and I'm going to castle queenside, and I hear Sandro is speaking Italian, and even though my last name is Polish, I am half Italian. My mom was Italian, so but I have enough trouble speaking English to tell you the truth. So I don't really understand what Sandro was saying, but I don't think he's talking to me anyway. So all right, Bishop Queen A5. So Winston Smith is playing this like it's a Cambridge Springs, but oh, that's okay. But his pieces are all over the place. I'm just going to protect with Queen C2 and just keep the position and go very slowly. Okay, now what has happened here? We have Lao Tse has gone bishop to E6, bishop to G4, and now he's gone back again. Interesting. So that if I go F5, he'll play bishop to C4. So now I'm wondering, do I want to go? Do I want to go F5 here and maybe try and trap his bishop? Okay, I think I'm going to try F5 and then he'll go bishop to C4. And we'll see how that one goes. Okay, I've gotten chess 24 to play bishop F8. Slightly more passive square, so that might take some of the tricks off the diagonal for me. And the question is how to develop sometimes. All right, I'm going to try bishop to G5. I remember when I was living with Larry Christensen in Germany years ago, we were always looking at these kinds of things. You know, small master, I feel like I've had this position before. I'm going to go queen e6 and give him another weak pawn. Why not? Fork and pin has gone king h8, getting out of that one. But what's the deal with bishop to c4? Am I getting knight f7 check in, winning the exchange? Also, bishop to f3 could be looked at too, but then queen takes a2. So I'm not really sure, you know, what my point would be there. I can get the b7 pawn, but then he gets my a2 pawn. And also in the Grunfeld, we have to be concerned about pass a pawns as white. So I think that I'm just going to go bishop to c4, and I think it wins the exchange. So we'll see what happens with that. Okay, MJB has gone rook e8, and I just played b3. I've had that position a lot. Havaniola, we're in, it's going to be a little boring, but that's going to be my fault. Bishop g4 from pawn grabber. I go queen e1. That's the Bogo Indian. Bjerke has got queen c7. Okay, now I'm looking to see if I offer him trades of queens. What happens? Trade queens on c6. Interesting stuff. I still feel like when he goes g4, I have that one under control, so I think I'm going to go rook to a6 and see if I can tie up his knight on d7 and get some play like that. Okay, chess 24, I played bishop g7, and he's gone bishop. I'm going to go bishop back to f4 and then see what happens after that. c5 from Ohanian. Okay, some of the games I have to be careful I don't get myself into a terrible time pressure, because it's been known to happen. h5 from Monarch, and queen c8 check looks nice. Small master, I feel like I just bother his pawns. Let me see. I think knight f4 looks good. Developing from Nanning. Okay, so he's going knight to d7, and I guess I'll just go knight to f3. If anything in that Petrov's, it's a very, very small edge for me.
Draw.
Okay, rook to b8. Bjerke is playing very solidly, and now I'm going to see Well, if I go bishop to g4, he'll go knight to f6, and then I have to go bishop back to f3 anyway. So I don't really see what that accomplishes. I'm looking at queen c. If I offer a trade of queens on c6, queen takes, pawn takes. His knight goes somewhere. Maybe it goes to f8, and then I'm wondering if my pawn on c6 is annoying him a lot. That's an interesting situation there. I think I'm going to try queen c6 just to see what happens, because I think even if it doesn't work, I can bail out in decent kind of shape. Okay, so chess 24 has gone bishop f8. If I take a draw by repetition, I'll be a big chicken, so I'm not going to do that. And now I have to see what's his idea here. B5 is obviously the idea. So I have to see, do I want to go rook a3 to take the steam out of that idea? One thing about that is, okay, I'm going to play rook to a3. The rook's weird, a little weird on a3, but it does take the steam out of b5 ideas. Knight a6 from c8. Knight on c to a6 from Benny wins. And I think that as much as I don't want to, I feel I have to play a3 there to stop knight to b4. Knight c7 from Ohansian, and I'm just going to go queen c2. I'm not afraid of a Benko there. A Dutch Benko doesn't scare me. Okay, Monarch, should I take more stuff, or should I just trade queens up a piece? That's the question. I think I'm just going to play it safe and trade queens up a piece. And let's see, e6 from Jester. And now I'm looking, well, all right, what's going on here with discoveries all over the place? Knight to g6. I don't know. Does he have a good queen move? I don't think so. I think I'm going to go knight to g6 and attack his rook and his queen at the same time. Knight g4 from Thrax, just attacking my e3 pawn, and I think I just should defend that with going queen to e1. I think the queen's more useful on e1 than it is on the other squares. And Small Master, I think I just go rook to c1 and try and keep him from going c5. Try and tie him down a little bit. c5. Now, Winston Smith is playing some serious provocative stuff here. His king's in the middle, and he's breaking. I don't know. That sort of violates some rules of chess as far as I know. So I'm going to try to take on d5 and open up the position. So I'm up a piece on Monarch, and I'm just going to play normal moves. And oh boy, this deep forward. I forgot all about this Sveshnikov. So I'm going to go a4 there. Havaniola has gone queen a5 check, and I guess I'll just go knight to c3. And now I'm trying to see what to do with in this game with Bjerke. I'm looking at some really sharp stuff here. I'm thinking of just going pawn to b4, and you know, maybe my c pawn is going to do some business there. So that's pretty cool. We'll see how that one goes. Okay, Benny wins has gone knight d7, and I was thinking knight e4 was a good move for me. I'm looking at other ideas. f5 maybe not bad either. Try and pry him open. Let's see what else. Well, knight e4. I'm wondering on knight e4, am I threatening his d6 pawn? Is a question. Let's see. How would he defend that if I did knight e4? And yeah, knight e4 looks right, and it might come to g5 at some point. Knight h5 from chess 24, and now I'm looking to see. He's chasing my bishop away. I'm wondering about bishop h6. Let's see, if I go bishop h6, what happens there? I mean, are there any? Does he have any tricks? Bishop to e3 could be a normal looking move too. I think I'm going to give bishop h3 bishop h6 a try. Okay, Small Master has protected his pawn at rook c8. Now I'm looking at stuff, just doubling rooks, I think. But where should I put them on C? I think C3 maybe is the right place to put it. Bishop D7 for Mohassian. I'm going to play A5. I'm playing that a little bit like a Benoni. Now, Jester has offered me a queen trade, except that he's going to be down a rook, but the rook's in the corner. So what's the deal with that? Okay, so I think I'm just going to take on H8. Knight E8 from Bjerke. Wow. Okay, I'm just going to go B5 and protect it and have a protected pass pawn and see what I could do. That pawn I have on C6 looks like a heck of a pawn. Queen H4 check from Talakin. And I was just going to go G3. And now let's see, but what does he have here? Does he have any tricks? Okay, I'm going to go G3. Winston Smith has taken on C3, and now I have options here. I can play safe with pawn takes, or I think I like the way pawn takes E6 looks. Just try to go and open him up right away. I'm going to send Thrax's knight backwards. And now Mohassian is starting to play on the queen side. I think I'm just going to play B3 there and do the double fianchetto routine.
Draw.
And now let's see what happens with Bjerke. Bjerke's maneuvering his bishop around, and I think that I go rook to A7. Bishop to D4 from Benny wins. Yeah, and I think that's a good move because I don't think that I want to take on D4 because it opens a C file and gives him a knight on C5. I'm not sure about taking on D6. It feels like he'll win my E3 pawn back. So that's one thing. That's one thing that I'm thinking about there. Retreating with just bishop to D2 could be possible. I think I'm leaning towards that, and just keeping the bishops on, and then trying to see what would he do there. And yeah, I think I'm going to do that. And I'm still dreaming of kingside attacks. Okay, deep four played bishop to E7. This game's going in slow motion. I better start moving there. I'm just going to develop with bishop to E2. MJ's hit with now I exchange and give him an isolated pawn. Lao Tse, I think that I should go after his light squared bishop. And pawn grabber has gone C6. So the question now with pawn grabber is, in what position should I play? Should I go for F4? I think I'm going to play F4. En passant against Ohashian. Queen trade from Jester down a rook. Small master with... Okay, now let's see. Small master has played knight D7 developing, and now what's happening here? I'm going to double rooks on his pawn. F5 from Benny wins. A nice square. I'm heading into G6, E6. I like the way that looks. I'm just going to go knight to G5. Monarch. That's the game where I'm up a piece, but I'm just gonna go, take my time here, and just play very slow stuff. And let's see, MJ. I just develop with bishop to B2. Work on his isolated pawn later. Queen E4 check from Talakin. Okay, now that move was not a move that I really thought about. He's going to get my rook, and I can get his rook with knight takes C7 and knight takes A8. And then the big question would be, does my knight get out of A8? That's a really big question. Other ideas here for me are to go... I don't know about bishop to E2. He could trade queens and take. So this is a kind of a sharp situation here. I think maybe I have to trade the queens. If I trade the queens on E2, now then he goes knight takes D4. So I have to trade the queens. And then I don't know what's happening to my knight on A8 there. Okay, Havaniola has gone knight E4. He's playing also with really a position with no development. So I think I'm going to take on D5 and then see how that one goes. So I mean, I'm pretty, I mean, as things go, I think I'm pretty happy with most of the positions that I have. Jester, my knight is on H8. So I'm just gonna develop my pieces, try and get castled. Queen H5 from Pearl Hacker, and I think that I should get on with my minority attack stuff. And now we got to see what the deal is with this Talcan position. It's very confusing. And Queen B4 from Chess 24. And now I have to see what to do here. I was thinking of just going rook to A2. I don't know. If I go queen to D2 and protect like that, does he have any tricky stuff? Like, for instance, knight to F4 looks like something that could happen. So I think that rook to A2, and having his dark square bishop gone takes away quite a lot of the counterplay. So I think I'm going to try rook to A2 and just take it easy there. Okay, Benny Wins has gone knight to C7 defending his E6 square, and I'm just going to try to go H4 and see if I could crash through there. Queen B8 from Ohasian, so he's working on my B pawn. Knight D2 looks like a decent way to defend it. Pawn takes E6 from Winston Smith, and now does Queen G6 check do anything for me? I think I should just take pawn takes C3, of course keeping the queens on because his king is open. Now, Lao Tse has gone rook to C8, and now I want to see here what's going on here. I think I'm going to take on C4, and then get try and clear up that situation. Some interesting games here. All right, knight F6 from Benny Wins. Tempting, very tempting exchange. I mean, tempting to go H5 and just try to open him up. My king is much safer than his. That could be something to do. I think I'm going to try it. Okay, deep 4 has gone F5, and now I have to see in these positions. Usually white replies with F4. Bishop F1 in the knight off. Now, Queen B7 coming from Ohasian, and now the question is, do I ever want to open up the position with E5? Now, if he triples, my knight's defending B3, so I feel okay about that situation. The big deal for me is there some situation, do I just want to open it up with E4? Can I do that? I think I'm going to try to open it up with E4 and see how that one goes. And his king could get open also. Knight D2 in A4, H5. If he looks up a game, Shabalov, Fedorowicz, that brings back some unpleasant memories. Rook G8 for Monarch, and I'll just develop. So I'm pretty happy about some of these games. I don't think, usually by now I would have one game that's messed up, which I might have one game that's messed up. The game that might be messed up is the one is the Latvian Gambit, where I honestly really don't have the faintest idea what's going on. So Nanning is playing really a solid way in that Petrov. And now Pearl Hacker, he's gone B6. Do I want to go B5? Interesting. I think I'm going to try it just to open it up fast. Maybe I can use the C6 square. Okay, Jester has played, is going to take my knight, and I'm going to try to figure out what is the best way for me to do this. I think I'm going to castle and just let him have the knight back. Okay, now let's see what's happening here to Ohasian. Looks like knight on c takes e4. Queen c6 from Laozi, and is that a pawn on a6 that I could capture? I think so. So I took it. I'll keep Aveniola. I'm going to take back with the pawn on c3 and hope maybe I could use the open b file for something. g5 from Monarch. I don't know. That looks like another pawn for me. And now we have to see what's happening here with Ohasian. Can I go bishop takes b2, or does he go knight takes d2 there, and how does that work? And then he goes knight takes f1. So I'm looking at bishop takes g7. Obviously, my simplest move here is just to go bishop takes e4 and take it easy. But if I can go bishop takes g7 and keep his king on, have his king on g7, I think that could help me. So I'm looking at that. Bishop g7, knight takes d2, bishop takes f8, and then is his knight trapped? So I think I'm going to try this bishop takes g7 thing. It could get a little weird, but all right, I'm going to give it a shot. Knight h6 from Thrax, and now I'm wondering, is he playing for f5 ideas? And if he is, should I just go? I don't know if knight h4 does anything for me. Let's see. He goes f5 anyway. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll go knight h4 there and see, just to see what he's up to. Jester took the knight back, but now I'm going to try to mess him up with bishop takes c6 and rook takes a7. My knight from deep fort is returning to the center. That's in the Sveshnikov. I guess I'm just going to take another pawn against Monarch. And here we are with Benny wins. I went for this exchange sack, and we're going to find out if it works or not. I suppose if I don't like the exchange sack, I might be able to do bishop takes f5, and then rook takes f5. That could be possible. So I'm looking at rook takes h5 and bishop takes h5, hitting f7. Yeah, all right. I think I'm going to go for that. Rook c7 from Laozi, and I think I'll just go bishop to b5. Looks good. Winston Smith, I'm going to take back with this c pawn. His king is in bad shape, and I'm up material, so I feel good about that. Havaniola has offered me a queen trade on a6. Now, I'm a little ahead in development here, so I'm thinking of taking this queen trade and then going rook b1 and stuff like that and see if I could use that. Okay, Nanning's just played a controversial move. Bishop to f8, allowing knight to g5. Huh. I don't know. I think I'm gonna try knight to g5 and see. I mean, I can get his light squared bishop, so that seems pretty reasonable to me. I think he should have been a little more careful about that. Well, we'll see. Queen d4 from chess 24. Okay, what's happening here? Now, I would like to develop. I'm thinking of going g4 and seeing, where does his knight go back. Then I have to be a little careful about stuff like, sacrifices on e4 in some cases. So I'm looking at that. I'm wondering if I can just play solid. If I went bishop to d1 and knight e2, trying to get myself castled, could that be a reasonable thing to do? Does he have any tricks? I think I'm just going to try bishop to d1 and try and get myself castled and see. Okay, so now Havaniola, I'll go rook to b1, try and use some tempo and some time. And Monarch, okay, Monarch, I feel like I should go knight f7 and continue to trade down. Benny Wins has sacked the exchange back. But, I mean, I have to be happy about this. I mean, his king is wide open. Offer an exchange from deep fort. And should I go, I'm thinking I should go a5 there and then just let him do the taking on c4. Took the bishop against Monarch, up a piece. And now, okay, Pearl Hacker is giving me an opportunity to get the bishop pair. Light squared bishop, but then I'm trading my strong knight off. I'm thinking I should just go a4. I don't know. I'm thinking. I think I'm going to take on c6 first because I was worried about c5 stuff coming from him. Okay, now what's a good way to play against Laoce? I'm almost thinking of just, since I'm up a pawn, of just acting like nothing happened and going putting my bishop on g2 again and staying up a pawn. Okay, so and now Monarch, I think I'm just going to go after his h-pawn. I'm just going to go king to e2 and bring my rook to h1 and play that position. f5 from Thrax, and I guess I'll just trade some stuff there. That game's pretty solid. Winston Smith has gone king to e7. Now I'm wondering if I can bother him with queen to g6 at some point. I think I'm just going to go rook to b1. I tell my students rooks belong in open files, right? What the hell? I mean, it looks decent. So I'll try that. Knight c6 from attacking my e2 pawn from MJ, and now I have to see what's the right way for me to approach this, protecting the pawn. I worry sometimes about the d3 square, but I think e3 must be right. So let's see, bishop g2. I'm playing it safe against Laoce. I snatched an a pawn, and now I'm just playing like nothing happened. Okay, rook e8 from chess 24, and now I go knight to e2. I feel like I have that under control, but you never know. And now let's see what's happening here against Pearl Hacker. I don't want to. I'm really not happy about trading that knight off there on c6. Okay, I think I'm going to get rid of his bishop and try to work on some light squares. Okay, Havaniola has gone b6, protecting his pawn. And now I'm going to see if I could go a4, a5, and loosen up his queen side some. St. John's is down by like 29 points. That's not good. It was a game in the first half, and then since then they've pooped out. Aha! Queen f6 against Benny wins. Let's see what's happening. He's hitting my b2 pawn. So, but I think that I should just go queen takes h7 first, and then I'll worry about maybe I'm going to take his knight on the next one. Okay, h4 from Monarch. I don't really believe that pawn can bother me all by its lonesome. b6 from Deep Fort. I see. Okay, and now if I take, he goes queen takes. So now I'm looking. I like the fact that his queen side is sort of blown up there. Should I just go queen to d2? And if can I recapture on a5 and then play like that and try and keep control of the queen side? Sometimes those positions look like King's Indian positions where the queen side has gotten blown up. Okay, now, against Benny wins, should I just go queen takes c7? Bishop takes b2, king c2. I'm threatening all kinds of knight e6 stuff. That's got to be right. Okay, Pearl Hacker is taken back, and I'm just going to play. I think I'm just going to go queen to b3 and try and just protect my pawns. And that looks okay. Rook g8 from Winston Smith. And now I think I'm going to go rook to. Okay, I'm looking at queen h7. But I think I should go rook to b5 and send his queen, keep his queen from going to the king's side, just in case. Okay, king d8 from Talakin. But then that gives me the option of going back knight e6. But then But then it's trapped over there. Okay, so I'm gonna go knight takes a8. And that's the one game where I feel a little bit uncomfortable, to tell you the truth. Okay, bishop f8 from Laontse, and I think I'm thinking about pawn to g4. Try and take some space. King c2 from Benny Wins. E5 from Small Master. And let's see. Now, if I just go knight to d3. Okay, knight takes d2 from Ohassian, and I have to take on f8. So I did a kind of a temporary piece sack over there. Let's see. I'm going to play against Monarch. I'm going to try to get my knight pieces over, so I'm going to go f3. And Jester is protecting, but he's down the exchange, and a pawn too, I guess. But I'm more concerned about him, just being down the exchange. And now I think Benny wins. The simplest thing for me is a knight h7 fork, and that should win for me. Okay, now let's see what's happening. Maybe Winston Smith's position could be ready ready to go also. So I'm going to go queen h7 check, and then he's got a block. Okay, Pawn Grabber has played bishop to d7, and now do I want to take on e5 and then go knight c4? Yes, I think so. Okay, Havaniola has gone knight c7, so I'm looking at a5 again. Looking at ways, I have development, so I want to try to open them up here, and I'm not really sure how I'm doing that. Okay, you see, I'm thinking I don't want to go bishop to a3 because e6 might actually help him develop. So I'm thinking I should just go bishop to d2 and develop like that. Okay, now what's happening here with Ohassian? His knight is trapped. He's getting my b3 pawn. I'm trying to figure out, do I want to go bishop h6 or bishop e7? I'm thinking I'm going to go bishop e7. Pearl Hacker's gone rook c8. I think that's a good move, and I have to take on d5. And now MJ223. Let me see what's happening here. He went bishop to g4. And I think, okay, now if I go h3, am I chasing him to a better spot? I think I'm just going to go rook to c1 and take it easy. Okay, knight takes g3 from Ohassian, and I'll just go h takes. And I really like the fact that I have that dark squared bishop. I feel like it might help me get an attack at some moment. e4 from Small Master. Okay, now what? Now how do I want to do this to him? That is, his e-pawn doesn't look so hot. Can I just go? Let me just go knight to b4 and work on that c6 pawn. Okay, Manning has gone knight to f6. Looks like a decent move. And should I take that bishop? I think I'm just going to take his light squared. Well, actually, let me go queen c2 first and provoke something. Might as well get a developing move in, and then I'll do it. And Thrax says, taken back with the bishop on f5. This is just a very solid game for both sides. I can't say that much is going on. I don't know. Can I play for pawn structure if I go bishop takes c6? I don't know if that gives me a little something. I might try it. Okay, bishop f5 from Ohassian, and let me see, where do I want to go here? I'm looking at queen c3. I'm looking at queen e2. I'm looking at queen d2. If I go queen to d2, what's the deal with that? And then is he just going to go knight to e8? I can go queen to a2, but I'm not sure what that's about. So where do I want to go here? Queen C1 doesn't look bad either, but what's the difference between Queen C1 and Queen D2? Also, Queen to E2. Maybe Queen E2 is the best move. Okay, yep. I'm just gonna go Queen to E2. And B6 from Monarch. Now, I think, do I just maneuver? I think I can go E4. Rook to C4 from Lautze, and I'm just going to go G5 and push him back. King F8 from Jester, but did he hang his bishop on B4? Okay, so now let's see. Winston Smith has gone King to F7, and now I have to see what's it. I think Knight H4. I'm looking at all kinds of ideas here. Knight H4. I'm looking at Knight E5 check. I think Knight H4 has got to be the right thing. It's the same thing without sacrifices. So let's do that. Also, just in case it defends some squares. Okay, Thrax. I'm just gonna go Queen to E2. This position's probably equal. That's in this Rui Lopez. A queen swap offer from Chess 24. Do I want to take it, or do I just want to go back and keep the queens on? Since he doesn't have a dark squared bishop anymore, I would think that his counterplay is reduced. So I feel like I should keep the queens on. The only thing that bothers me is F5 or something. Okay, I think that I'm going to try queen all the way back to C1 and see what the deal is there. Pawn takes from Pearl Hacker. And now I'm looking to see my knight on E. I'm having a little bit of trouble developing my bishop on C1. Don't want to give him knight to D2. I'm looking at rook to B2. Looks decent. To then go rook to C2, or maybe to try to take the C file over. Okay, so Lautze is getting pushed back, but I have to be a little bit careful in that game because he's moving very fast. I can't move my C pawn. I'm tied down a little bit to knight C3, but I don't think that should be the end of the world. Should I just go bishop to D2 and develop? Why not? Just take it easy there, and maybe there'll be a B3 will happen at some point. Okay, what's happening? Queen takes H2 pawn snatch from Winston Smith. Okay, now bishop H5 check. Bishop H5 from MJ looks all right. Now, what do I have here? I'm looking at things. If my queen got to B1, would that be to A1? Like playing like Richard Reddy or somebody like that. Okay, castling for me against Chess 24, getting out of the way of Knight D3 check fork. Knight takes B4, interesting move from Pawn Grabber. His idea is Knight C2 is happening also. So how do I want to do this against Pawn Grabber? Do I want to let me try to take on B4, and then we'll worry about that kind of stuff afterwards. Okay, now C5 from Monarch, and I think I'm just going to go D5. I have passed pawns to bother him with also. And knight takes E6 finally in the Nanning game. Pawn takes from Pawn Grabber, and now what do I do here? I'm looking at D6 and queen takes B4. Yeah, all right. D6 and queen takes B4. Let's give it a shot. Havaniola has gone king to D7. He's playing some solid stuff. I'm going to go C4 and try to open it up. Okay, now I'm trying. Monarch is causing a lot of trouble here, but I think I'm still winning easy. Okay, rook takes E6 from Nanning. And now, do I want to double rooks on the E file? Let's just do rook to E2. Double the rooks on the E file. Deep Fort has played. Looks like a good move. Attacking my B2 pawn. If I go C3, he might take A5. So what's my best course of action here? Can I just go rook A2 or rook A3? No, well, rook A3. Well, rook A3 is weird because bishop takes. I have rook to B3, and then I get that pawn. But he might go B5. So I think I might have to go rook to A2 there. Strange looking move, but I guess it'll cover everything for a little while. Okay, rook C2 from Pearl Hacker, and now I want to see. I guess I'll just go rook C2 and trade some rooks. Knight D3 from Chess 24, and I'll just go queen to D2. King F6 from Monarch, and now I think I'm just going to get my pawns going. Havaniola, it's a solid game. Knight on B4 for Chess 24. Okay, then I'll bring my rook back to A1. And let's see, it looks like everybody's thinking. Simul's been going for about an hour and 10. No results in yet, I don't think, but there were a few where I was pretty happy about things. So we'll have to see if while I was gone there were any results that we had. Okay, now against Pearl Hacker, I'm still not developing myself in the best way here. I think I'm going to try this. I'm going to try to do the C-file thing to him. I'm going to take on C8 and then maybe bishop A6. See if I could use the C-file. Okay, now, Ohasian, here's the question. Did Ohasian make a blunder? He just went knight E8, and what is the story on bishop to D8? Threatening a rook and some other stuff. Okay, so Pearl Hacker, I think I'm going to go bishop to A6. Okay, Havaniola has played rook to C8, and now I have to see how do I want to do this. Heir for my king, or does knight G5 ever do anything? Let me do an H. Should I do an H4 heir for my king? Or I'm just going to do an H3 heir for my king. Okay, bishop C6 from pawn grabber. Attacking my E pawn. I'm thinking of just defending it with rook to E1. Rook on F to E1. Thrax has retreated. Maybe we're going to have a lot of rook trades soon. I'm trying to figure out how do I bother his pawn structure. Maybe, I don't know. I'm looking at pawn to B4 to fix some pawns. Not sure I want to touch that side. Looking at knight to C4, knight to E4. I think I'm just going to go. Well, I think I'm going to trade. Maybe I should trade off all the rooks and see if I could then work on get some business going there. Okay, B5 from Deep Fort, and I'm just going to go bishop to B3. My rook on A2 looks really ridiculous. Okay, trade off all the rooks against Thrax. Okay, knight to D5 comes from Havaniola. Now I'm looking to see here. Rook takes rook, rook takes rook, A5 I'm looking at. Try and get rid of that pawn on the other side. And then it's a question for him. Is it is his pass pawn strong or what? Pawn grabber, I'm going to anchor my knight with pawn to A4. Deep Fort has just struck in the middle with G5. I don't know. I don't think I'm worried, but we'll see. His pieces are a long way away from me, and then I'm going to go bishop to E3. Let's see, Havaniola, I think I'm just going to go. I was thinking of going pawn to E4 and then knight C3 and then doing something with A5. But maybe I'll just go A5 straight off. Okay, now what's happening with chess 24 here? B6. I feel like, I've won games and lost games with knights on B4. I had a game where I beat Vasily Smyslov in Dortmund in 1986, right? And he had a knight on B4, and it just watched the game. And also, I had a game against Yanis Sarawan in a Benoni where my knight watched the game from B4. I think chess 24 offered me a draw, and I didn't see it, but I don't know. I'm sort of like my position, so I guess I'll try. I'm gonna go for G4 and then knight G3 stuff. See how that works. What is Small Master trying to do to me here? Does he have a pin situation? If I go pawn takes, does he go rook to C8? Interesting. Maybe. So I can go knight back to B4 again. And then, but now I feel like I'm better here because of his E pawn. So let me see if I could do that. I'm going to go pawn takes B4, C5, excuse me, and see how that one works. All right, now Monarch is what's happening. I think I'm going to go, if I go bishop to F5, get my two pawns going. Okay, now knight takes C5 against, I thought Small Master's idea was rook C8. Okay, knight takes C5, looks good for me. Rook E8 solid from Nanning, no tricks yet, and I'll double rooks on the E file. Queen C6 in against Lautse. I'm pretty happy here. I mean, there's not a lot going on, but I think I like my position. I think I'm just gonna go King F1 and continue to play safe. F5 looks like a good move from Havanaiola, cementing his knight. Yeah, I was wondering about that. And I think I'm just going to take on B6 and clear that situation up. D5 from Thrax. Now we have to see what this pawn pushing. I'm pushing here on Monarch. I'm pushing my pawns up. Queen C7 from A4 H5, and I think should I go F4 here? And then knight C4, or take my time? I think I'm going to take my time with queen to C2 and protect all my stuff first. Okay, now, D4. Do I want to go bishop to D4, or do I want to go bishop to B6? I think I'm going to go bishop to B6. Okay, chess 24, knight to D7. Now, is he trying to stick knights all over my face? He might be. But, let's see, if a knight got to C4 and I just went queen to E2, would that be a problem? So I think I'm going to just go king to H1 and get out of the way of checks. All right, now, Havanaiola, I feel like, let's see, let me bring my king towards the center. King takes F8 from Thrax. Now, so my entire idea here was based on going after his pawns. So here's a deal. Can I just go D4 to hit the A6 pawn? I think I'm going to try that. Queen to D6 from Pearl Hacker, and now still I'm still not happy about how my development in this game, because my bishop on B1 has been there my bishop on C1 has been there forever. And what's it doing? All right, well, I guess it's gonna stay there for longer, because I don't know. Is Queen B4 an idea for him? It's a good question. I'm glad that my bishop on A6 is just keeping an eye on things over there. So is Queen B4 do something? I think, all right, if Queen B, and I also have to look out to see. I think I'm going to play A4. I just in case there are some weird ideas with B5 happening. Okay, knight C7 from Lautse. All right. Now, do I want to? I feel weird here. I mean, do I want to try to mate the guy and be up material? I mean, it seems like a little bit greedy, doesn't it? Okay, I'm going to go rook to E3. Knight e5 from chess 24 like we thought. And I think I'm just going to return my bishop back to e2. Okay, queen to e7 from d4. All right, so now I think I'm going to go pawn to c3 and just keep the position and try and get that rook back on a2 and get it to e1. a5 from Thrax, and I think I'm going to go check. And I'm going for a good knight versus a bad bishop type of situation there. All right, Monarch, does bishop g6 win? Okay, now, pawn grabber has gone for something here. Pawn to b5. Interesting, okay. So that means he's banking on taking on e4. So rook takes and stuff like that. If I go knight to b6, does that do anything? No, just rook to b8. Okay, I guess I have to go for this. My king's a little open, but I feel like he's kind of from, long way away. All right, now I'm checking to see. I'm checking my counting on this move here against Nanning. I'm looking at knight takes f7 or bishop h7 first, and then knight takes, knight, rook takes. Everybody gets traded, and then what's happening there? Rook takes, rook takes, rook takes, and then two bishops. I think it's good for me, so I'm going to go bishop h7 check, and then knight takes f7. Small master, okay, good. We're in a rook ending him up a pawn. MJ has gone. Now, against MJ, I'm thinking of. I was thinking I should just go bishop takes f6 there and mess up his pawn structure. Okay, bishop to e7 from Laozi, and I guess I'll go rook to h3. I mean, it's a solid position. Okay, bishop takes e4 from pawn grabber. Now I have passed pawns all over the place. My king is but what's the story with my king though? That's what I'm wondering. I mean, should I now if I leave the bishop there, he'll get some queen d5 check thing going. Should I go rook to e1? Queen to d2 could be good just for defense. I'm leaning towards a little defense here with queen to d2. Okay, rook e8 from d4, and I guess I'm going to go rook to e1 like I intended. King e8 from Drex. Now, in the Thrax game, I feel like that I've got a couple of things going for me now. One thing is I have going for me that I'm really happy about is in that game is I just forgot. I'm like I'm sorry about this. It's like a senior moment or something, but I'll get back to that in a while. So, all right, so back to Laozi. Do I ever want to go b3? He's still bothering me on the c2 pawn. I think I'm looking to see if I can keep him bottled up. Is he ever trying to go b5? Is a good question. I think that queen g4 looks like a nice move for me here. Just to get the queen, just to try and get my other rook into the game. Okay, now, pawn check against Monarch. And bishop to d7 from chess 24. Now, how do I want to play this? I'm always looking for the b5 stuff. And when can I play f4? I think that's what I'm trying to check out here. When can I play f4? And will it do something? So I think h3 seems like the right thing to do. And then start to threaten f4. Okay, Havaniola has gone king b7, very solid play. I think I'm going to, let's see, if I go knight to e1, can he go e5? I want g4 I'm thinking about. If I go G4, what happens? Okay, I'm going to try G4 just to see if it creates some unbalanced business there. Okay, MJ is now threatening my A pawn, so I feel a little uncomfortable about that. Okay, I'm going to play A3. I think he's doing all right in this game. You know, I mean, he's bothering my pawns. I think Monarch probably I just won with E8 Queen. Oh boy, this one, Talakin. Still going. Knight takes D4. He didn't take my rook. He's after the other rook. All right, I'm just going to go bishop G5 check must be good. I got to get some pieces out. Okay, and now let's see. Havaniola, what's the deal here? Taking on F5, Knight G5. Knight G5 is, and then Knight H6, H6. There. I don't know. I'm gonna try Knight to G5 just kind of as a testing sort of move. Maybe soften him up on the file or something. Okay, Knight D3 looks like a good move from MJ. I'm forced to go Rook A1. I'm not happy about that, but at least the pawn structure on the other side looks, you know, doesn't look so hot. Okay, what's happening with Lao-Tse? I think I want to go G6. Maybe some sacrifices can happen. Okay, Queen G7 from D4. Now, what's the deal here? Do I want to trade light squared bishops? Pawn to C4 sometimes, making a passed pawn in certain situations could be a nice thing to do. Rook E6. I don't know. Rook E6. Huh. Hard to believe. I don't know. I mean, is that the way to play a position where you think you're better? I mean, I guess you just never know. You know, I don't know. I mean, I kind of like Rook E6. Joel Benjamin always said I was nuts stacking the exchange in any position. I'll tell you what, I'm going to try Rook E6. My king is safe. What the heck? I mean, the Talakin game is really confusing me. Now, what am I up at this moment? A rook? I'm going to castle queenside and attack his knight. This is so complicated, I can't even count anymore. I don't know what the story is there. It's just you know, it's just a mess of a count. Okay, king F6 from small master. Feels like what? Heir for my king, H4. H4 heir, why not? Thrax, I feel like I should take back with the E pawn. And then establish a knight on E5. All right, now, I was thinking of getting a little feisty, as they say here, with Exeniola and trying to go knight to F7. And just see what happens there. Okay, Pearl Hacker, I need to develop. My bishop on A6 is the guy that's saving the day there. Knight G4 is not bothering me yet. I'm thinking about Rook to D1. Let me see. What other kind of ideas here? If I go Knight to G3, get rid of those knights. Maybe. Okay, I'm going to try Knight to G3. Okay, pawn to C4 from chess 24. Makes sense. Put a knight on D3. And then I wonder what happens then. I mean, I'm looking at all kinds of weird stuff here, like queen to D4, I get forked on C2. I don't want to do that. If I just played F4 and F5, I feel like I'm pretty solid over there. So I think I'm going to try it. I'm going to try F4, F5, and see at least F4, and then see what happens after that. Okay, Havaniola has gone King C7 to stop that. Now I'm thinking, I'm looking at Rook to G1. See if I could get some business going there. All right, now one thing that bothers me about this is on F5. If I go F5, and he goes queen e5. That queen on e5 is bothering me a lot. So I don't know if I'm into that. I mean, I'm looking at things like bishop takes d3. Then what does he take it back with? The sealer sweeper doesn't seem like it should apply here. King to g2. I don't know. Even the sealer sweeper is a weird idea here. I mean, e5, pawn takes pawn, and then f5. But I don't know. I don't know if I believe that there. I'm looking at it though. All right, you know what? Why not? All right, hold on. But then am I worried about my d? Then I'm looking at my d5 pawn, and I'm wondering how that guy's looking. Don't know. Should I develop my last rook? And then is there any point to b3? b3 undermining, but then he might go rook c8, start to bother me on the c3 square. So a lot going on here. I'm thinking of doubling rooks on the f file. What does that do? All right, I think I'm gonna double rooks on the f file. Rook f3. Okay, rook e6, d4 didn't take my offer of the exchange. He didn't take my offer. I offered the exchange, and he didn't want it. So I think I'm just going to leave it there, and go rook and put my other rook on e1. Okay, Havaniola has gone king to d7, and now let's see what's happening here. Will he bother my knight with is a good question. All right, I'm going to go. I guess I'm going to play f3. Not a lot of pieces on that board, but still kind of a sharp game. Okay, small master's gone rook a8, a5, and I think I want to fix them and go a4. So I'm up a pawn, and I have an active rook, and he's got a passive rook. So that one feels good. Okay, now Thrax, do I like this position? Good, yeah. I think I'm happy to trade queens there with the good knight versus a bad bishop. I think I'm very happy about that. Okay, bishop d5 from pawn grabber, and I think I'll trade. I have two passed pawns there. Okay, bishop takes h1. Now, what is the score here? Am I up a piece? No. Yeah, I am up a piece because my knight is on a8. This turned out much better than I thought it was going to tell you the truth. I mean, this turned out, I was sure that somehow I was going to wind up down a piece when I went into that thing. Rook a d8 from MJ. And now I'm looking at stuff like knight to d4 just to bother his pawns. I have a better pawn structure there. Okay. Now, I think my knight wants to go to c5 in the Thrax game just to stop it. All right, now d4 changed his mind and then took the exchange. Okay, so I got my exchange sack anyway. Now let's see what's happening here to pawn grabber. Man, I'm thinking about a b6 just to go, right? All right, I think I'm going to do it. What the heck? I mean, let's just get those pass pawns going. Like those guys said, pass pawns must be pushed. Against small master, my king should come up. Pawn to b5. Talikin has attacked my knight with pawn to b5. But the question is now, am I going to be up some pawns? Knight takes d6. Rook e7 from d4. Okay, and now I got to see what's my deal here. Another exchange sack probably wouldn't be so good. I think that I want to try now. Is he going to try to hassle me with his G pawn? Let's see. All right, I'm going to go bishop to d5. Just play a little defense in case his pawns come up. All right, Talikin, I'm going to go rook takes. Rook takes bishop, of course. And bishop to e5 from MJ. And I think I'm just going to bring my other knight over. And king e7. Okay, so now, how do I want to do this against Talkin? Just move my rook to a6. He goes rook takes, and then go bishop takes b5, maybe? Could that be good? Or is my rook good on a6? Yeah, I think I'll go for that. Okay, rook to a6. My king is coming up against small master, trying to win another pawn. Okay, h6 against pawn grabber, who with the rooks and the queens on wants some air. And now I'm looking at b7. And I think I'm going to do it. And Talkin took his piece back, but what's the deal here? How many pawns am I up after I play bishop takes a6? Up 2 pawns. Looks nice. Turned out well. Have some water here and take it easy. Weather's not so bad in New York. There was some snow the other day. It felt like it wasn't that much snow, but it felt like it was more than it was for some reason. Okay. We have Havaniola has gone knight to e7, gets his knight out of the way. So now, if I do pawn takes, what is it? He takes back with the e-pawn. Interesting stuff there, huh? And then, is he going to make me, at some point, am I going to go knight e5? All right, I'm going to play bishop to b4, sorry, and see what's the story there. Okay, here comes deep fort. He's pushing his pawns. And I have to be ready for that. So do I want to go rook to f3? And if he pushes the pawns, what happens? Okay, I'm going to go rook to f1. Okay, queen g6 from Lao Tse. And do I have any fancy stuff here? No mates. His knight on f8 is covering it. He's not threatening queen takes g6. Should I go bishop to f1? I think I'm going to try to defend myself indirectly with a move like rook to g1. Okay, rook to g1, and then we'll see if he could manage to mess up the position a little bit. Okay, knight back to d5 from Havaniola. I'll go bishop back to d2. I don't know what that means. It might mean that some draw offer could be coming. Queen d4 from Chess24, a little bit of a cheapo, knight f, and he's trying to get in knight f2 check. So what's my deal here? Can I just go, let's see, that move is not so easy to deal with. I'm thinking a king h2 looks like the best way to get out of it. So let me go king h2, and I don't think I got cheapoed. His queen is hanging, so the knight can't move, so that looks okay. All right, looks like Havaniola. I think that a draw in this position, I'm okay with it. And knight to e4 from Pearl Hacker, hitting hitting my g3 pawn. And now, what do I want to do here? I can go bishop to b7 and make him go rook to d8, and then protect my pawn. I don't know. That seems like the right thing to do. Okay, I'm gonna go bishop to b7. Okay, pawn to e4 from Lao Tse, and now I didn't think that was going to be a good move because I thought I had queen to e2. So, but let's see what happens. All right, I'm going to just play queen to e2 and see if there's some undermining business going on there. Okay, what's happening here with MJ? At what moment do I get? At what moment should I take something? Okay, I'm going to go rook to rook f to d1. Get some development out. B5 from Chess24. Okay, and now, do I want to just leave that there? And I'm wondering, I mean, just like before, I was wondering about f5. and still wondering about f5. Should I do it, or do I need to prepare it some more? Very messy. His queen on e5 can be so strong. That's sort of the thing that's bothering me. Okay, I'm going to try to prepare it by going rook to f1 and then see if f5 can happen after that. Okay, I didn't have any offer me a draw, and I didn't see it, so I would take the draw there. Thrax has gone. Let's see. Thrax has played g5, so we're in a good knight versus bad bishop ending. I think I'm gonna make a pass pawn. First, I'm gonna see if I can win his a pawn without doing anything, and then I'm gonna see. All right, knight c7 from pawn grabber. Can I just take his knight? I think so. Okay, f3 from deep fort, and now what's going on here? This is some pawn he's got there. So how do let's see, do I want him to exchange? Do I let him exchange? Does he have any other ideas here? I'm looking at things to do. Is bishop takes h2 ever doing anything? I'm thinking I should go c4 here. And this one got a little bit, my exchange sack, I think, was kind of dumb, to tell you the truth. Okay, now against pawn grabber, can I just queen with check? Okay, Pearl Hacker has played rook d8, and now I guess I just go king to h2. I have to defend my pawn like that. I'm still not developed. That bishop on c1 driving me nuts. Bishop to b4 from a4 h5. Another game in slow motion. We're only on move 13. He went bishop to g4. I feel like I should just go f3. So, Simul started. Simul's coming on 2 hours. Some good games. Some games winding down. Some games still pretty complicated. See, these Benko Gambits, I mean, when Shabalov murdered me in that Benko Gambit, I remember I prepared for it felt like I prepared for a long time for him playing e4. And then I go to the board, and the guy plays d4, and I think for like 15 minutes, which is ridiculous to think for 15 minutes. But I didn't expect him to play d4, so I come up with the idea of playing the Benko Gambit. And Benko Gambit's not the kind of thing I should need to prepare because I've played it so long. But and Shabalov just played a very good game, and I just did some inaccurate stuff. So I feel very comfortable here. I just try to beat people the same way Shabalov tried to beat me. He just controlled the game, and I never got any Benko Gambit kind of counterplay going of any kind. So even though I lost that game, I learned a lesson of how to play against the Benko Gambit. On b6 for a long time, I thought that e6 was maybe a good thing to play against it. And those things where there are exchanges on d5. I thought that gives black some decent play, pretty solid. Also, to try and take with the knight on b6 in these ones is interesting. But then white tries to come out with bishop to f4, so that when the knight takes on b6, there's no e6 breaks. So that's a kind of a possibility here. So h4, a4, h5 is thinking. I don't think I'm in time pressure on any board, as far as I know. And if it happens, it happens. I'll try to deal with it. As when I was playing chess a lot, I was never really I never got into time pressure too often, and I was much happier to beat win games against the people. Okay, now Chess 24 has gone f6. All right, so now what kind of thing do I want to play here? Do I need to trade on f5 ever? I don't know. If I trade on b5, does that help him, or does it? I think I should trade on b5 because the other way he might open up the b file. So that's how I'm talking myself into that deal. All right, now let's see. Bishop to e5 from Bishop to e4 from MJ. This game is normal kind of speed. All right, I'm going to go rook to a2, I think, try and drive that knight out. Now, the counterplay I'm looking at here is I can't, against chess 24, when the guy offered me a draw, if I saw it, I probably would have taken it because this is just, I really don't know what to do here. I'm looking at e5. If I go f5 and he locks it, I don't know about that. You know, I mean, and f5, well, f5, queen e5, I could take. I feel like I got to pull the trigger on something here. I think I've been preparing this forever, and I don't see any more preparation left to do. So I think that I probably have to go f5. Okay, knight takes g6 from Lao Tse, and now, okay, I go pawn takes d5. G5, he locked it. Yeah, maybe I should have thought about that one a little more. Bishop takes, knight takes. I don't want that knight out of the way because there's knight on b4 out of the way because then b4 ideas start to happen. So, what is my deal here? I don't know, h4 takes. All right, I'm going to try h4. I mean, I'm into it now. I got to keep going. All right. Bishop d7 from a4, a5. Does that mean in this position, okay, I'm looking at f4. He goes knight g4. I go knight c4. I don't know. Sometimes a4 is the right move to stop those bishop ideas. So I think I'm just going to go. I think I'm just going to go a4 to stop bishop b5 ideas. Okay, bishop f4 happens from deep fort, and I agree. I don't know when deep fort commits. I don't know. It's too complex, but it is pretty out of control here. So now I guess I'll just where to put my queen? I guess queen c2. And we'll see how it works. I mean, it's just okay. So chess 24. I think I'm going to try knight to h5 and try and keep him tied up over there in some spots. Okay, Pearl Hacker's coming over with his king. Looks okay. And now, do I finally develop my bishop? Jesus, I mean, it's just weird. I can't develop my bishop. Okay, I'm going to try rook to d1 and try and get my rook out in some kind of unusual way. Okay, now, a6 from MJ. Now, I'm thinking of getting rid of his knight. So I go rook to d2 and try and get rid of his knight. That looks nice. Okay, the game from Lao Tse just got messy, but hold on. What is queen takes c4 about? And pawn takes c4 from d4, and I guess, okay, now, if I go queen takes c4, queen takes b2, and then I have no choice except for rook f2. So, it's hard to believe that I'm the one trying to win this game. I mean, I don't know. I mean, should I go pawn takes f3? Pawn takes f3, king over, and then am I threatening rook to g1 stuff? Wow. All right. I think I'm going to try pawn takes f3. Don't ask me. Okay. We have from MJ rook to c3. That looks like a good move. Now, can I get rid of him again with bishop to f1? Okay, knight takes d5 from Laontse. Bishop takes d5 check. I think that one is under control for me. Rook e7 from chess 24. And I guess I'll go rook to h1. It's a good game, it's an exciting game. See if he goes queen d4 again. What do I do? All right, knight c5. I got MJ to back up. And now do I want to go pawn to b4? Let's see. I don't know. I got him to back up, but I don't know. He's backed up. Now I'm looking at pawn to b4. Okay. Bishop to e8 from chess 24. So he can, if he gets rid of my knight, there's some knight f4 stuff going on. I understand. Okay. So now I got to see what to do here. I can't allow this knight f4 stuff. So do I have to go bishop takes d3 and maybe sack the exchange? But then he gets pawn to b4 in. Yeah, I think that, all right, well, I'm going to take on g5 first and see what happens. a4, h5 is getting into time pressure. Okay, what's happening here now? Not really sure what to do against chess 24. This idea of takes and knight f4 is very bothersome. Knight f4, let's see. Check. All right, I'm going to try something here. And h6 from Pro Hacker, and I'm still trying to get myself developed. I'm going to go rook to d3, odd way of developing. Knight a4 from MJ, and now I got to see he's threatening to take some pawns. Okay, do I want to? Let's see. I don't think I can go rook to a1 at all, because if bishop takes f3 looks a little dangerous. So let's see, if I go knight takes, maybe bishop to h3. Queen g5, attacking my bishop from deep fort. Okay, so what's happening with this now? I can go queen takes c4. I can go bishop takes c4. I feel like somehow I should keep an eye on man, I don't know, if he gets rook e6 in. Okay, he's attacking the bishop is the first thing I have to deal with. Bishop takes c4, and then what? His rooks are frightening me, I got to tell you. He thinks it's really d4 thinks it's equal. Man, I'm telling you, if this is equal, that's that's pretty good. I'm telling you. So I think I have to go bishop takes c4. Pawn takes pawn check. All right, bishop takes c4 it is. Now, what's happening with a4, h5? His knights, his pieces are getting chased to weird spots. Okay, h3, knight h6. Then I'm looking at e5. Here I'm looking at e5 also. I could take my time, I guess, not go e5. F5. F5 is an interesting thing. Trying to maybe crack through to the G6 square. How to do this? Maybe H3, knight H6, then F5. Okay, I'm gonna try that. Let's try H3. Send his knight to the side. And now I'm thinking about F5. Rook takes A3 from MJ. Now let's see what to do here. I mean, I'm trying all kinds of stuff here, but this is a pawn. This is a pawn for sure. And with a knight c3 threat, maybe also. Well, I don't know. Is knight c3 really a threat? Yeah, I got really outplayed in this one, I have to say. Let's see. So if I go knight, let's see. If I go knight takes, knight c3 is bothering me. I think I'm going to go rook to c1 and just try and use the open file for something. Maybe some kind of ideas, maybe take the bishop, go knight f5, get a rook to f7. I just might have to be careful of back rank stuff also. Okay, pawn takes pawn from a4, h5. Okay, and I guess I take it back on f5 and then try to maintain that pawn. Time pressure from a4, h5 under 5 minutes. And we've only made 20 moves. I don't think I've lost any games yet. I think my best Simul was 3 losses and maybe no draws. The usual Simul has me losing. I think I've usually lose about 4, and some score like that. Okay, knight back to b6 from MJ. And now, how do I want to do this? Okay, look, I really hate to repair his pawns. I'm thinking repairing his pawns and then going knight to f5 and trying to get in there and bother, and maybe get a rook c7 or something like that. Or, in some cases, attack his bishop. Okay, rook to g7 from chess 24. Wow. So that means that if I take, he's going to put knight f4 check in. All right, I'm going to take. And now knight f4. Okay, so I took his rook. But now, does this give me queen sacrifices? Let me see what to do here. Well, I'm going to take on f4. Okay, knight c4 from MJ looks like a very threatening kind of move to me. I think that's a good move he made. So now that knight on c4 looks like it's going to be tough to deal with. All right, so I just got to go back and play rook to b1, see if I could come up with some other stuff afterwards. e5 from a4 h5. Wow, I don't know. All right, don't I take en passant? I think there was an en passant there. Okay, now let's see. Pearl Hacker was still messing around with my rook, trying to get it somewhere where it's doing something. It's the long trip. All right, what's the best way to do this to a4, h5? Can I just win a piece? Bishop takes, and then rook takes, or rook takes, and then bishop takes, 2 pieces for a rook, some attack. I think I got to do it the most normal way and just go bishop takes. Okay, rook b3 from MJ. MJ is starting to clean me out here. That was he made some. He just outplayed me in this game. What can I do here? Let's see. Nah, it's almost resignable. Or do I have any funny business? No. So what to do? All right, I'm going to try knight to h4 on such short notice. What can you do? All right, now what's happening here with chess 24. If I go rook h8, he can't take it because it's mate with the other rook, right? So then he has to go knight to e6, and then can I mess up his king? Okay, rook h8 has to be right first of all. Pawn takes d5 from a4 h8. Okay, then I take on g7, looks good. All right, now, what is the correct way for me to do this? Knight to e6 threatens rook mate. What can he do? Bishop c6 ideas. King moves. All right, if his king moves, then I see. All right, so what's the right way to do this? Knight takes e8. Knight e6, king e7, rook check, bishop f7. Rook takes a7. Man, that looks pretty good. Rook h7. Threatening that. Now, that one, what is the deal with that one? Take his bishop would check, take his rook would check. I'm thinking that rook to the bottom looks like the right, rook to the other rook to a7 looks like the right thing to do. King there, knight takes e8, and then I walk into discovered check. All right, I think this is the right thing to do. Okay, a4 h5. I like it. I think I'm about to bring in the full point. Rook takes b4 from from MJ. As MJ's starting to take my stuff here. And I'm just down 2 pawns, and not really any chances, but I'll see. I mean, as long as my king is safe and I'm not getting made, I'll always fight. I remember last month, Simon, I had a really sharp game, and okay, rook to c8 from deep fort, and that looks. Now, how do I meet that move? How to meet that move? I mean, he's threatening my. Well, actually, I'm having slight hallucination here. But if he's threatening d5 stuff, right? So, and if I put my queen somewhere, then he gets rook c4 stuff. So what do I do here? Pawn takes pawn? Nah. Yeah, I don't know. That move. So my exchange sacrifice was a little ridiculous. I think. So what sort of move do I have to play here? Do I have to give him pawn takes pawn check, and then queen g2 check? I mean, how can I really live through that? I mean, I think I'm going to have to do it. I think I have to try queen e4. It's not good, but that's the way it goes. Okay, now what's happening here with Pearl Hacker? If I go bishop to c6, and he has to stay on the d pawn. So bishop c6 looks right. Simul usually takes about 2.5 hours, sometimes a little longer, or something like that. So I figure this one is going pretty well. And if I can get a Simul with 2 losses, that would be my best Simul. I don't know what the best scores for the Simul is. It's got to be very tough to win all the games. I mean, everybody's good. You know, I mean, every game is a tough game. Okay, knight takes c4 from. And now, let's see. I'm dreaming of attacks on f7, but I don't know how. So I'm going to try. Okay, pawn takes. And now, well, I mean, this isn't turning out too great. I have to go for a walk against deep fort. So I'll see, if I could manage to survive that. Okay, I'm going to go do some pawn harassment here from MJ, try and keep him tied up. He's got two passed pawns. Uh-oh, I got mated on D2 against deep fort. I protected E2, but not D2. So, good game from deep fort. I overdid it with the exchange sacrifice, but not bad at all. So congratulations to you. Good game.
Draw.
Poor hacker off me a draw. I'm happy to take it. I'm not playing that F4 again. It was a good game. Pearl Hacker played very well. I played okay. I think maybe the position was equal. That move order to get me to play E3 probably is not bad at all. It's a good way to play. Okay. MJ is giving me a pawn back. And what's he trying to do? Is he going to double rooks? All right, well, I'm going to try to take the pawn back, and I'll worry about living. What can you do? I need to take some material back at the cost of having a bad king. Yeah, that Sveshnikov line, I think, is a pretty good line that I played against D. Fortin. I mean, it's probably, I don't know. I mean, the rook A2 thing, I was probably asking for a little bit much with that. Maybe I should have just sacked the B pawn, because it becomes like a King's Indian where the queen side gets blown out. So that's some chances there. Probably a pawn sack was better than doing that weird rook A2 thing. And also, I think it's not a bad position for either one of us if I trade off all the rooks and don't do any rook E6 thing. I think that's what I had to do. So we're in the we're winding down here. MJ's thinking he was up two pawns. He gave me a pawn back. I don't think he had to do that. He probably should have played rook A4, but I think he should still win. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm dreaming of drumming up some attack on F7, maybe something like that. I don't know how I'm gonna do it though. So I suppose on rook to D8, his idea was maybe to go rook to D2 and double rooks on the 7th. I do have my squares covered at this moment by my bishop and knight, so I don't really feel like my king is in that much danger yet. So I'm happy to take a pawn back and see, just keep fighting here and see how it goes. Okay, so rook to B2. And now what to do is the usual question here. I guess I'll try, since if I'm dreaming of getting rooks on the 7th, I suppose I should try to get them organized in such a way. Let me try rook to A1. Maybe if I could trade a pair of rooks, that might be nice. And I guess rook to D2. So, yeah, I mean, in this game, I felt positionally better with the isolated pawn. And then after that, just got outplayed. I don't know. I mean, he played well. His knight on E4. Also, giving up the bishop pair. Bishop takes F6. I probably had to play a little bit more accurately there. That position should be I don't know. I thought I was going to be better, but it should at least be okay. Not, not what happened here. So let's see if he goes rook to d2. I don't know. I guess I was going to try rook to c6 or something like that, just to keep him tied up a little bit. Yep, rook to d2, and I don't know. I guess I'm going to go. I'll go rook to c6. Still down only one pawn. That's the good news. Bad news is he's very active. Rook's all over the face. At this point, my bishop and knight are the only things keeping me in the game here. But good Simul for everybody. Thanks for playing. And, hope to see everybody in April. And spring is coming, I guess, we hope. Although sometimes I like the snow, but it's been, I'm not a sissy. New Yorkers aren't sissies in the Northwest. The people don't mind the cold weather, but I got to tell you, February was a little bit too cold, even for me. And I'll probably go into Columbus, Ohio for the Nationals with one of my schools. That's the next trip, and then we'll see what happens after that. Castle Chess Camp in Atlanta is always a nice trip. Nice camp if you guys, well, I mean, it's not just for kids. Grown-ups go to the camp also. It's a very nice camp down there at Emory University. So that's in June. And then I'll be there for you guys that play in the Memorial Goichberg tournament in Chicago. I'll be there as usual in my little commentary room. And I'm wondering what MJ is thinking here. I don't know if he can take H. I don't know. Maybe he's thinking of snatching H2. We might be able to do that. Although, well, I don't know. He should be a little careful on that kind of snatch. Not so easy for me to coordinate my rooks. I mean, I can't go floating around with that rook on A1 has to stay there because if it doesn't, then it's back ranks. So I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm looking at stuff like, well, bishop F1, he can maybe go knight E3 even. So I'm not really sure what I'm doing here. I mean, knight to F5 ideas. I mean, I suppose maybe bishop to F5 I could do because he's got to be careful if he takes, knight takes. Then I'm creating some back rank threats on my own. Although he might be able to just go H5 or something, get out like that. But he's got to be a little careful about things like that. So not clear to me what his best move is at this point, but I'd be really surprised if this just wasn't some kind of easy win. Ah, okay. Trading a pair of rooks. That now I don't have to worry about getting mated. So I'm sort of a little happy about that. Okay, now what's my next deal here to try and let's see. If I go rook to c4, how does he protect that pawn? Rook to b2. I feel like all of a sudden that I have some hope. Also, bishop to f5. If I can get a knight to f5, that is not bad either. With some back rank, create some back rank threats. Maybe get my rook behind his b pawn. I'm thinking I like rook to c4 here. And then I feel like I'm having some hope here. Okay, I'm going to try rook to c5. Sorry, it wasn't rook to c4 would be if he hung his knight. I don't think he's going to do that. Now, I don't think he's got any mating ideas with knight to e3. So I think that once a pair of rooks went off, I think it helped me because it made my king safer. So now I got to see what if I could just drum up enough counterplay to hang around in this game. Knight a3 doesn't seem right. I can maybe take a pawn. That bishop f5 stuff is really greedy thinking on my part to think that I'm somehow going to back rank mate him, but you never know. But the first order of business for him is I don't think that he can give me the b pawn for nothing. So how does he protect it? Bishop to d3. Okay. So now what's the deal with this? If I take this pawn, now I'm thinking if I take the pawn, what happens there? I'm not really clear on what he's trying to do to me. I mean, rook d2 check, I go king f2. I don't have to walk into knight e3 check. I don't know. Maybe I can make a draw here now. I'm looking at bishop. If that's not safe, then maybe bishop to f5. I think that I can go rook takes b5. Man, all of a sudden, what happened here? He was up 2 pawns for nothing. I think giving me the first pawn back was a mistake. I think he should have been greedy there and gone rook to a4. Now I don't see what he's doing. I think I'm all right. I mean, I don't think I'm going to get greedy and try to win or anything. I mean, if he went perpetual check here, I think of course I'd have to take it. I mean, rook check, rook d2 check. That might be the best way for the game to end, to tell you the truth. I don't. My knight and bishop did a really good job of defending things in this game. But next time, MJ, I mean, keep all your stuff, you know? I mean, just keep the stuff. Rook a4, I didn't see any reason to even give me the a6 pawn. Also, I think don't trade the rooks, you know, because you make my king safer with the rooks on the 7th like that. I'm barely hanging on. I mean, but I didn't know what move you should play there. For instance, if you go rook takes h2, bishop g2 traps your rook, right? So I wasn't really sure, but I'm sure, you know, check it with a computer. I'm sure there's some kind of way to consolidate your position even after giving me the a6 pawn. You know, you're very active there. But just going rook a4, I didn't see any reason, you know, why to give me that, you know? So let's see. I feel like there's nothing here now. I mean, certainly you played great and deserved to win, but a couple of slips, a hallucination here or there, and that's how it goes. Yep. All right, MJ, that was a you know, you played very well. You know, and the opening was you handled the opening well, and that was a good game. So let's see what's happening here. Pearl Hacker, that was a draw by repetition. So 2 draws there. That was a tough game in the Stonewall Dutch. I tried an f4 idea. Deep Fort, congratulations on the win. The line I played in the against the Sveshnikov, I like it. I think it's a good line, but I think my exchange tack was a little weird. And then I think pushing on the king's side was right. I should have just traded rooks and taken rooks off the board, and then the king's side pushing, I would have been okay there, I think. But it's okay for black too. Against a4 h5, that was the Benko Gambit. Remember, I said Shabalov taught me a lesson once, and I never forgot it. Chess 24. really weird game. And I got a big attack at the end with a queen sack. I felt in that game after I traded the dark squared bishops that at least I was okay, because black's dark squared bishop is very important in that kind of game. Um, Loud say, what happened there was I played a g3 and against a knight off, and he just lost his a6 pawn. And then after that, he couldn't do anything. It was just a slow build-up for me. I just took my time there. Um, Pawn grabber also had a pretty good position, but then some confusion happened there. And in the meantime, I got to take his pawn on I made an attack of his pawn on e5, and that caused me to win some pawns. And then with passed pawns at the end, I made queens. Um, yeah, Thrax was okay, and then just didn't pay attention to the pieces that were traded and got into a good knight versus a bad bishop, and the knight was just going to clean up. Havaniola, just a solid draw. Repetition draw, not bad. Um, Talakin, he got too fancy, I think, in this Latvian gambit. I thought that he could have just taken my rook and tried to trap my knight on a8. Instead, he went some other stuff and just wound up in this final position where he's down 2 pawns for nothing. Small master got into a rook ending. I think that his opening wasn't bad. It was pretty solid. But then when he goes c6, he gives me a place to pressurize, and then I got some play. He might have been able to handle the thing better on the queen side with the c5 pawn. I thought he had some pin idea he might have been able to do. Monarch just lost a piece in the early going. And Nanning in a completely innocent position went knight h5 and lost immediately to a bishop h7, knight f7, winning a lot of material. If he leaves his knight on f6, it's going to be a long game where white's a little better, and the Petrov is, like I said, it's a tough opening. Ohasian in the Dutch, I always felt like I had a positional edge in that game. Tripling on the b pawn when it was protected with the knight on d2 didn't feel right. And then I opened it up, and then once I got the dark squared bishop, I was in very good shape after that. And thank you for the game also, Winston Smith. And Winston Smith, you just have to play a better opening. I mean, you just got murdered right in the opening. Taking on f6 with the queen is a perfectly reasonable thing to do. Jester also got into some problems in the opening. He played a premature bishop f5 and got into trouble with queen b3. That's the standard way of taking advantage of bishop f5 when it's not good. And Benny wins. Well, Benny wins also a very strange Alekhine where it just it didn't, his opening didn't feel right, and I just thought I was better there. And then my opposite side castles, my king was so safe that it just gave me an easy attack. Bjerke, what can I say? Don't give your opponents, such passed pawns on like I had on c6. Just really too strong a passed pawn that happened there. And fork and pin. Well, I mean, bishop c4. His f5. First of all, knight takes c3, solidifying my center probably isn't right. And then g6 getting into a Grunfeld is probably not bad. But I think the one that really got him into trouble was f5. I think it's just anti-positional. Black isn't developed enough to play that kind of move. Chess 24. That was a pretty good game there with the. I mean, I had an accidental queen sack at the end that put him. My rooks got into the position, but very complicated game there. So thank you, everybody. Only one loss. So my Simul record, 15 wins, 3 draws, 1 loss, 16.5, 2.5. Thanks everybody for playing in this Simul, and I appreciate it and hope to see everybody in April, and enjoy the rest of your day. And thanks for coming to the ICC. I think it's one of the best places to play. I love it here, and I like to thank Sandro, who always does an excellent job of producing the show. So this is Grandmaster John Fedorowicz, Hall of Fame Grandmaster, HOFGM Johnny. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in into my March Simul for Chessmaster ICC ICC Simul. Thank you very much. Take care, everybody. Bye.